Jack on the beat.
They say on drugs, I say on me. They say it's sad, I say it's funny. You with some crap, don't you dare call me, cause I know that I can get you out this shit. I know it's weird that I'm quite honest, but if I don't, then who's gonna know? When mama said, don't you play with fire, you should listen and just move on my way. I've got this feeling that someone's on me. I've got this feeling that someone's on me, yeah. Someone's on me. Ooh, someone's on me, someone's on me. Yeah, someone's on me. Oh, someone's on me, someone's on me. Cause I'm a drug, and you're on me. And I'm a drug that I just cannot resist. Someone's on me, ooh, someone's on me. Once you begin, but there's no ending. Oh boy, it's like divine calling. And you don't know if you're up or falling out at the end of the tunnel, well, not here. The end is near, I feel it coming. This is between you and I only. When mama said, don't you play with fire, you should listen and just move out my way. I've got this feeling that someone's on me. I've got this feeling that someone's on me. Someone's on me. Ooh, someone's on me, someone's on me. Yeah, someone's on me. Oh, someone's on me, someone's on me. Cause I'm a drug, and you're on me. And I'm a drug that you just cannot resist. Someone's on me, someone's on me. Someone's on me, someone's on me, yeah. And I'm a drug that you just cannot resist. Someone's on me.
I did.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night.
Power radio.
Woman, you make me feel like 1,000 shillings. It's your coins but naughty. Me, you, minus tie, shut in a coatie. Heaven, floating, hoping I may make you feel like a lady. Oh yeah.
Madafu nipe hilo penzi la ajabu. Usikawie bila sababu. Songa karibu yangu mami. Nifunze adabu. Usinipimie. Ua nimechanua, ukikawia nitanyauka. Jua kapisha mvua, nimegundua utaniua. Wanipagawisha. Long time it's been, kuna kiangazi. Tukutane wapi, nikupate wapi? Wewe ni mubaya baya, mafuta moto kwa karaya raya. Nitaimba bila haya. Wewe ni pasta mini kwaya. Wewe ni mubaya baya, mafuta moto kwa karaya raya. Nitaimba bila haya. Wewe ni pasta mini kwaya. Nataka unifunze adabu. Penzi langu tamu kama madafu. Nipe hilo penzi la ajabu. Usikawie bila sababu. Songa karibu yangu mami. Nifunze adabu. Usinipimie. Mpenzi ukanguta. Let me talk to you for a minute, cause lately I seem not to be okay. One
wanifanya na kwa za kishenzi, wanifanya na isini kama naoka na maji vugu. Yani ngumisete ngagwata ukuta. Hey! Kizunguzungu. It's been a long time since I felt this way, and I've been longing and waiting to see your face. Songea karibu niruhusu nikubusu, sauti yako mpenzi nataka kusikia daily. Baby, you light me fire, nikiwa nawe misioni haya. Mambo yote sawa, siwezi kuacha hata na dawa ya muganga. Baby, you light me fire, nikiwa nawe misioni haya. Mambo yote sawa, siwezi kuacha hata na dawa ya muganga. Penzi langu tamu kama madafu, nipe hilo penzi la ajabu. Usikawie bila sababu. Songa karibu yangu mami, fire, nikiwa nawe misioni haya. Mambo yote sawa, siwezi kuacha hata na dawa ya muganga. Penzi langu tamu kama madafu, nipe hilo penzi la ajabu. Usikawie bila sababu. Songa karibu yangu mami,
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Power Morning Drive Show on this very fabulous Wednesday morning. It is the 27th of August. The year is 2025. Happy Katiba Day, or is it a happy day? Well, you'll have to stick around and find out exactly what Katiba Day is all about, and we are going to be having a conversation later on the program as we talk about 15 years in, has the Constitution of Kenya delivered on its promise? And we are going to be ascertaining, how do we move from promise to progress? How do we move from frameworks to functionality? How do we move from ideas to implementation? My guests are already in studio, and I'm super excited to be having this conversation about Katiba at 15. But before we get ahead of ourselves, of course, I have to tell you where you can get in touch with us. You can call us in live. You can text us on 0748 379 231. You can also get me at my own personal page, that is the Wanyoike on X. You can also get us on Power Radio across all platforms. Incidentally, we are also live streaming on our YouTube channel, Power Radio, and of course our website, www.power254.org/Power Radio. All right. So the kids are back to school, and the situation on the roads is mad crazy. I almost did not make it to work on time. So let me just tell you what is happening on the situation in Nairobi this morning. We start off with the day's traffic updates, and let me start off, of course, with the high and mighty Thika Super Highway. From the look of things, you guys, will be on the traffic situation for quite a while. I see traffic starts all the way from the there's a little bit of traffic actually from TRM as you go all the way towards town. Ni hali ya watoto kurudi shuleni, so you guys will have to just keep yourself calm. Same situation also happening along Kiambu Road. I can see that traffic starts all the way from the DCI as you go all the way towards town. Same situation also happening along Limuru Road as you go from the village market down towards Muthaiga. Absolute chaos right there. Red Hill Link Road is also looking quite shabby this morning. Just bumper to bumper, actually. There's nowhere to run. Let me see what's happening on Kipoponi Road. It's also looking the same, as you can imagine. The same situation also happening along Lower Kabete Road as you go from Zen Garden down towards the Westgate Mall. I can also see, let me come on this other side of Wanyoike Way. Wanyoike Way is also looking not too, it's not the usual. There's a little snarl up as you go from the Safaricom Center down towards the Westlands area as well. Let me see what's happening along James Gishuru Road is actually looking very busy this morning. Same situation also happening along Ngong Road as you go from the Junction Mall down towards Prestige Plaza. Let's jump over towards Raila Odinga Road is looking like mayhem this morning, especially as you go from Bagathi County Hospital down towards the Kenyatta roundabout. Langata Road, interestingly enough, Langata Road is not looking too bad this morning. There's just a little bit of a snarl up as you go from the Nairobi Safari Walk, but it's not moving. It's definitely, it's actually very clear today, so nothing much to complain about Langata Road. Drama only starts as you go from the T-Mall Junction down towards the Bunyala Road area as well. Lusaka Road is also very, very busy this morning. I think I can also see that Jogoo Road is looking quite busy, especially as you go towards a stadium. Capital Center, that's the whole stretch of Mombasa Road, actually starts all the way from the Next Gen Mall into Capital Center, right into the Nairobi West Hospital area. All right, that is what is happening on our major roads this morning. Let me take a quick breather. When we come back, I'm going to invite my guest. Today we are going to just focus on Katiba. It is Katiba Day. The main story actually I can see on the Daily Nation is 15 years of promise and hope. It's an extensive coverage from page 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the Daily Nation. So my guests are going to be helping us unpack and unravel what exactly how do we move from promise to progress, as I mentioned, with the Katiba? Was this just a document, how do we move from the framework to functionality, How do we move from conversations around making it work to commitment? How do we move from ideation? Because they are great ideas to implementation of the Constitution. We will also just talk a little bit about some of the iterations of the Constitution. We've had a BBI here and some NADCO report and all those things. So come back and let's get into that conversation as we ascertain the pains, the gains, and the way forward for Katiba at 15. Do keep it Power Radio.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Why would you let go? Of your tender heart, tender heart. Maybe you'll grow, Count to 3. Take a step. Count to 3.
his tender smile, his pretty wild. But sometimes I get unsure why his heart feels cold. Her tender lies, ooh, her tender lies, they burn off his skin, his fire. I see him think of her sometime, still he counts 2, 3. He takes a step. Oh, it's a love unplanned. Oh, I try to breathe. Try to breathe. Just try to breathe. Just try to breathe. Oh, it's a mind-grown bell, but I'll still take his hand. His tender hands are in God's tender hands. Maybe if I let go, then I'll grow.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Chris to the cantata. They call me Chris to the cantata. That's why they call me. Huni nani G, huni kantai hajali G, huni mtu mkali G, tuliza moto kufani G. That's why they call me. Huni nani G, huni kantai hajali G, huni mtu mkali G, tuliza moto kufani G. Yo, they say it's hard to compose a rhyme. I say you out of your mind or you full of lies. Then again, you could be the slow kind. I don't see how lyrics don't hypnotize. Why lie? The season has transformed. You got reason to be bored, so now you want more? I'ma serve you flavor that you can't afford. The bill about to get placed on your tempo. So don't even try to resist. Look at yourself bumping to the beat. Get up and get down with a G-twist. Forget the hater cause the fool's not on the list. Dig this, we came and we took over. Got the keys to the ride and we're not sober. We made an oath that we ain't gonna ride for you. So now it's hip-hop, ride us to the border. Huni nani G, huni kantai hajali G, huni mtu mkali G, tuliza moto kufani G. That's why they call me. Huni nani G, huni kantai hajali G, huni mtu mkali G, tuliza moto kufani G. They're taking over my head, dog, they on a hustle. I'm taking over their bread, dog, I'm on a muscle. Try to be cool, but I gotta mumble. Better yet, after that, there's a big tussle. With them tears, boy, dry your eyes, see the G going cheers, boy. Don't be mad, cause I say that you weird, boy. You kinda scared, so I see that fear, boy. Meditating on a cute shorty. Lean body, mean thighs like the chick bought it. I said real tight like they all assorted. If she arresting my ass, then she got a warrant. I'm a legend in the living, and that's that. I grab objects of vices you can't touch. Read all comprehension is too much. I know where's these words that bring the rap. Let's go. Huni nani G, huni kantai hajali G, huni mtu mkali G, tuliza moto kufani G. Huni nani G, huni kantai hajali G, huni mtu mkali G, tuliza moto kufani G. Glad that you stopped by. Who are you? What's your business? Bye-bye. I hate people that think that I'm on a rise. Yet and still I'm the steel that will not fly. Ask why? I got this given data. On this planet I teach you before the chatter. What I compose gets better by the day's weather. That's why they call me Chris to the cantata. Huni nani G, huni kantai hajali G, huni mtu mkali G, tuliza moto kufani G. Huni nani G, huni kantai hajali G, huni mtu mkali G, tuliza moto kwa fani G. Yo. That's why they call me. They call me Chris to the Cantata.
I make mountains out of molehills, and it can be quite the scene. Think about how far I've come in my life, looking greater than it's ever been. If I could eat my pie in the sky, it would be just my thing. Sipping on my champagne, and my life looking greater than it's ever been. My life looking greater than it's ever been. How did you rise so fast, so high, and not melt your wings in the sun? You must be Africa's son. How did you rise so fast, so high, and not melt your wings in the sun? They say you must be an African. They say you must be Africa's son. They say you must be an African. They say you must be Africa's son. You must be an African. I don't know about my haters, but they should know about me. Keep me humble, oh God. My life looking greater than it's ever been. I overflow flavor. My pockets are full of greed. Even on my worst day, my life looking greater than it's ever been. Life looking greater than it's ever been. How did you rise so fast, so high, and not melt your wings in the sun? You must be Africa's son. How did you rise so fast, so high, and not melt your wings in the sun? They say you must be an African. They say you must be Africa's son. They say you must be an African. They say you must be Africa's son. You must be an African.
Jealous, don't hold me, jealous, don't hold me, jealous, don't hold me back. If you jealous, don't hold me, jealous, don't hold me, jealous, don't hold me back. If you jealous, don't hold me, jealous, don't hold me, jealous, don't hold me back. If you jealous, don't hold me, jealous, don't hold me, jealous, don't hold me back.
If you jealous, don't hold me back. Jealous, don't hold me, no, no, no. If you jealous, don't hold me back. I'm saying, please don't jealous me. Please don't jealous me. I'm singing, please don't jealous me. Please don't jealous me. I'm singing, please don't jealous me.
If you jealous, don't hold me, jealous, don't hold me, jealous, don't hold me tastes like sugar and spice and everything nice. Close your eyes, I'll make you realize you're winning in life, yeah. You're winning in life. You taste like sugar and spice and everything nice. Close your eyes, I'll make you realize you're winning in life, yeah. You're winning in life.
Call me a number one, baby, you can call me a Superman. Chochote utataka nitakupa man. You my girl.
Call me a number one, baby, you can call me a supergirl. Chochote unataka nitakupa, nitakupa. You're my man. I wanna climb to the top of the mountain, let you cruise on this endless sea. Open up the windows to your soul. I want you to see what you do to me. Watch my spirit melt into your arms. Freeze this time so we'll never be apart, baby. I know you're comfortable under my skin, so don't let go. We'll make close, let the energy flow from my head to my toes. Like this bliss, let's get lit. Wake back up, then we do it again, baby.
Call me a number one, baby, you can call me a Superman. Chochote utataka nitakupa man. You my girl.
Call me a number one, baby, you can call me a supergirl. Chochote unataka nitakupa, nitakupa. You're my man.
Somebody call for my girl, call for my cure, call for my lover. Cause when the sun lights at west side, you're always gonna be my number one.
Somebody call for my man, call for me cure, call for my lover. Cause when the sunlight is at west side, you're always gonna be my number one. Tell me how you want it, daddy. Tell me how you want it, poppy. Tell me what you want, I'ma make you happy. I'll make you happy, I'ma make you happy.
Tell me how you want it, mommy. Tell me how you want it, mommy. Tell me what you want, I'ma make you happy. I'll make you happy, I'ma make you happy.
Tell me how you want it, baby. Tell me how you want it, baby. Tell me what you want, I'ma make you happy. I'll make you happy, I'ma make you happy. Tell me how you want it, baby. Tell me how you want it, baby. Tell me what you want, I'ma make you happy. I'll make you happy, I'ma make you happy. Tell me how you want it, baby. Tell me how you want it, baby. Tell me what you want, I'ma make you happy. I'll make you happy.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. That is number one, Le Band right there, playing on Power Radio. This is the Power Morning Drive Show with me and Wanyoike, and I'm super excited because, as I promised you, today marks 15 years since the promulgation of the Constitution of Kenya. And on this Katiba Day, it would not be befitting for us to talk about any other things. I know you might be going through things and perhaps boyfriend drama, but no, we are going to be focusing our conversation on our Katiba. We'll talk about the Constitution of Kenya. 15 years in, how do we move from promise to progress? How do we move from ideation to implementation? And most importantly, how do we move from it being just a framework into functionality? And of course, there's no one else to help me unpack this, the gains, the pains, and also how do we chart a way forward for the Kenyan Constitution. With me in studio, I have two amazing, illustrious, powerful women from the Katiba Institute. They are the litigation counsels at a Katiba Institute, and I will allow them to introduce themselves, starting with the lady on my, we can start with Eileen. Kindly introduce yourself. Yeah, just talk. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hi, my name is Eileen Imbosa.
Yes.
I work as a litigation counsel at Katiba Institute, focusing on countering violent extremism litigation.
All right. It's so good to have you. Welcome to Power Radio again. I think this is the second time here. Yeah. Karibu sana. Yes, and to the lady on my immediate left.
Good morning, listeners. My name is Sumayyah Mokku, Litigation Counsel at Katiba Institute as well.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Anne, for having us this morning.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's it for you guys. So we have Eileen and Sumayyah with us, and we're just going to jump right into our conversation. So I'm gonna start with just to set this, to set the scene for us. 15 years on of the Kenyan Constitution. Let me just start with Sumayyah. What do you make of the Kenyan Constitution? Have we made any strides so far, from your assessment?
Yes and no. So yes, because if we look at the promise that the Constitution has essentially set forward for us, for the most part, I think we have made essential steps over the years, and we've been progressing. Some elements of the Constitution are yet to be implemented as we would have hoped, or the people would have hoped. Other elements have been fully implemented, and maybe just to touch on some of these promises that the Constitution essentially wanted to put forward or wanted to achieve. If we look at, for example, issues of transformative governance, for instance, we look at three major issues. The first and the main one is the people-centered governance. The sovereignty of the people, participation of the people at the center of all that. So when we look at this as a central issue in the Constitution, we can say that we have achieved substantially. And I say this because, for instance, if you look at the finance bill protests 2024 and even 2025, this is as a result of this particular feature of the Constitution. Secondly, I would also look at, maybe when we talk about the issues of separation of powers, when we look at our arms of government, whether it's the executive, whether it's the legislature or the judiciary. When we look at elements such as independence of the judiciary, these are things which the Constitution wanted us to be able to basically enjoy. And we can see it playing out every single day. I mean, we also have independent commissions and offices that basically also assist with that issue of checking the powers of these entities. This is also something that the Constitution wanted, and we can see that this has been fulfilled through these clear structures that we enjoy every single day. For instance, it's very clear, if you want legislations to be made, it's Parliament that's doing it. If you want implementation, it's the executive. If you want remedies or dispute resolution, that's to go to the courts. So I think I would say substantially we have some of that, the structure basically is quite clear. Now, on the other issue, essentially, maybe when we talk about issues to do with social justice, we have a very robust Bill of Rights in the Constitution. So our Bill of Rights it's basically to say maybe essentially like infinite. It's not just what's even in the Constitution. There is more rights that you can enjoy which have not been expressly provided in that Constitution. So looking back over the last 15 years, we see a lot of development that have been happening in this area. Some of the promises that the Constitution had set forward, and these are things we are enjoying. These are things we're happy to see unfold every single day.
Right. Eileen, what does this day mean for you, not only as a Kenyan citizen, but also as a person that works within the legal space? What does this day mean for you?
One word, I think it's milestones. And milestones in the sense that I choose to look at this as a journey, the constitutionalism process. I understand that now, in the greater scheme of things, we are at the socialization of the Constitution stage. That's why, as Sumayyah has mentioned, we've seen so many expressions of how the people have interacted with the Constitution and how it's just manifesting itself and how people are appreciating these clauses and what they mean for them. You see comments like the people shall and how they trended in that video. And for me, it's a deeper appreciation of people actually internalizing this power. I saw someone telling the cabinet secretary the other day, if you joke, we shall remove you from that position.
Correct.
They were not joking around. They were just simply stating facts as we have accepted them for us. And probably just the one thing that I think I wanted to add to what Sumayyah has said is that one of the transformative aspects of the Constitution is the aspects of devolution. And I think we cannot talk about the Constitution and not talk about devolution and what it has done
sure.
for the people of Kenya.
Yeah.
Even just for me, I like the feeling of going back to the village and understanding and seeing that there's very little difference, depending relatively on where you are when the constitution started, actually from 2010.
Yeah.
But there's very little difference between now being in Kakamega for me and being in Nairobi. And I think that is one expression of the constitution and the 2010 constitution.
Right.
So it's still a journey. We're still getting there, but I'm excited for what the future holds for the country.
Right.
If we do this right.
We are going to come back to devolution just a little bit later on the program. But even as we ascertain the placing of the Kenyan constitution, the world, I've heard this so many times being said that the Kenyan constitution apparently is one of the best and most progressive constitutions in the world. Yet when you have conversations on ground with Kenyan and people in Kenya and the citizens of Kenya, they sort of feel that yes, it might be a great document, but that's just as far as it goes. So there is this disconnect between what the power of this constitution is vis-a-vis how the Kenyans experience it in its very expression. So what do you have to say, and what do you make of that, the juxtaposition between these two realities?
And I could understand, because I also sit in my part as a Kenyan, sometimes not as a lawyer, not as a public interest litigator, but someone who also just sometimes is disappointed at what the constitution is failing to promise. And with reason, and just to discuss direct examples, we cannot talk about the constitution and the state of affairs without going into the number of people that we have lost over the last 5 years, most recently, owing to things that the constitution set out and intended for them to never happen. Right. The constitution set out for us to have rights of arrested persons. Yes. So are we still talking about abductions? Why are we still talking about extrajudicial executions when there's a robust Bill of Rights that says historically this is why we are giving ourselves a Bill of Rights? It's because of this and this and this that has happened in our past that we may never see people dying on the street because they're exercising their right to protest. But then you still see these things happening. And you see, when we talk about sometimes even the separation of powers, sometimes it's a bit elite, because we are talking about the political machinations and how they're dealing on a higher level. But how is the Mwananchi interacting with this document? Does it mean anything for us? If people are still arrested randomly, just on any day you'll be arrested and nobody cares what will happen to you. If people are still losing their lives on the street, to really just have to enforce and to enjoy the rights that have been given to us. So I think in that sense, then the constitution is not delivering largely, especially to the people who feel like this is not speaking to my problem. You see issues of independent institutions, and Sumayyah has talked about the separation of powers and what we set out when we said, let's have a judiciary, let's have an executive, let's have a legislature that works maybe in committee, but also very separate in their own function, so that the people of Kenya, and they're working in the interest of the people of Kenya. So when we see Parliament not even giving enough money to like the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, these are some of the critical institutions that are supposed to help with the enforcement of rights. Yet they're not being given this power to do their job, this ability to do their job. We're seeing issues of political, political influence to even positions that are being given in independent commissions, independent offices. How does this affect and how does this translate to the person who's sitting on the outside looking in and wondering, is this really for me, or is this just a game among the political elite and their friends? Right. So then in that sense, when it doesn't look like there is commitment to the constitutional values, then it almost undermines what the constitutional promise was. Right. Because it's not translating to the normal Mwananchi in what they want to see.
That's right. There supposedly, Sumayyah, let me come to you. She's talked about the commitment, and in this country, it's not that we are falling short of brilliant documents. We have frameworks for days, but they never translate into function. We have ideas, but they never translate into implementation. We have conversations, but it never translates into the commitment. So there has to be a paradigm shift of how we go, how we deal with the documentations, and of course, today in question being the Constitution of Kenya. So how do we then shift? How do we move from we want to do this into actual implementation of the Constitution? What will it take?
Thank you, Anne. So one of the major issues, I think, even when you asked the initial question, is this issue of implementation.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we have this very progressive constitution, but why is it not working fully as we intended it to work? So I think one of the things that we are looking at is, for instance, when you talk about resources and resource allocations for crucial institutions.
Yeah.
There are entities that are supposed to be able to oversight, because our constitution presents a cycle. So maybe essentially, if it's a violation, someone makes a violation, you go to court, you seek remedy. After the remedy, then there's something that needs to happen afterwards. You have entities that you're supposed to go to that are able to help you. For instance, like the independent bodies. Why are they not able to work? We're looking at situations whereby, if you look at the amount of funds which are being allocated to our independent commissions, it's much lesser. It's just enough for them to be able to exist as entities, not enough for them to be able to implement whatever it is that they're essentially entailed to implement. Look at our priorities, for example, right now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sort of like take a dig at the housing, the affordable housing scheme.
Yes.
But for instance, we are thinking about constructing houses, whereas we have independent commissions that are still renting out buildings 15 years later.
Yeah.
And these are entities that's supposed to be fully fledged at this point.
Yeah.
So these are some of the weaknesses we're looking at when we talk about implementation. Secondly, also some of the weaknesses we have when it comes to implementation, I think it's also those power dynamics between the arms of government that we have. You'd find that maybe a judiciary would make a decision, say for example, on that affects the executive. Then there's going to be a retaliation in terms of how it functions. We recently had a situation whereby a judge's security was actually withdrawn for a decision he made in court. So that's one of the things that we think affects even that cycle of implementation. So these are some of the things we need to be cautious about and to look out for when we talk about implementation, and why we are having it, why it's becoming essentially very difficult or strenuous to be able to fully enjoy the provisions of the Constitution.
Yeah. You want to jump in?
And just to add, because we always forget the part where, so once we talk about the Bill of Rights, but then there's also aspects like a fledgling, dead on its knees state of healthcare. When the Constitution guarantees things like the right to free,
universal
healthcare, the right to the highest attainable standard of health. Yet 15 years on, and I'm not saying that there aren't challenges. There must be challenges, but there should be a way in which we are systemically seeing progress. Because even though the Constitution, I think this progressive rights, the concept of there's things that we'll achieve immediately, and then there's things that we'll work on achieving. So we're still seeing that the state of socioeconomic rights, when we talk about the right to health care, it's fledgling, it's on its knees. Right? We can't even keep up anymore. I know there are nurses who are on strike right now, and it's unfortunate that it's become a reality that people are just gotten used to. And of course, when you talk about this, you have to go back to the issue of private solutions to public problems and how that is affecting how even the mwananchi is interacting. Because when we talk about the normal mwananchi and how they interact with the Constitution, they're like, but matajiri wako na mahospitali zao zenye wanaendanga, alafu sisi tuko huku tumepewa public hospitals. I saw a parliamentarian the other day shamelessly saying that what did I say? They say that a member of parliament cannot be treated in the same hospital because of their status. So are you saying that you people are giving us third grade services because we can afford to pay you people to go outside the country? Because isn't it our money that is also paying even sometimes for their health coverage?
That's right.
So how do you see in the face of such blatant disregard for the people of Kenya, and then you expect that the people will celebrate the Constitution? It doesn't mean anything for them.
That's right.
And lastly, the right to education. They can't even keep up. Is it CBC? Is it CBE? And again, I know that it doesn't affect the political class, and probably this is why we are not getting enough traction on this conversation.
Right.
But these are people that directly affect how the public interacts with the Constitution. And you can understand why people then think it's an elite document that doesn't speak for them. But that's not what the Constitution set out to achieve.
This is supposed to be a social contract, right? It's supposed to be a contract that works for the people, but it's just, from where we stand, it's just not working. And I want us to discuss, Eileen, the first clause of the Kenyan Constitution, we the people, the sovereignty of the people. My goodness. you know, it feels as if it's a as you've said, like we live in a complete and utter disregard of the people that the constitution, first of all, that gives the power to the people. But we are seemingly so living in a time where there's a decline of democracy, because again the power of the people is not I even lack words to say, but it's not. We've not placed value for the power of the people, exactly. You know. So I mean, I wonder what you make of that whole situation as well.
I think we have this, and I think it's something that the Constitution set out to solve. When we look at our Article 10 and the national values and principles that it set out, which, for instance, the Article 10 says that all public officials must ensure that they follow the national values and principles set out therein under there when implementing any public decision, any public policy decision, and yet we see this just blatant disregard for all these values. Yes. And even and I think more insidious is the fact that even where public value, the national values are applied, they're still applied incidentally in a manner that is supposed to undermine the will of the people. And 15 years on, we can talk about the state of public participation now. I think it's a good time to talk about how is public participation delivering on its promise. Look at how the finance bill and how it went in. One of the national values is that we have to conduct public participation for sessions. We could say the finance bill worked and public participation was done, but did it work? Did it translate in parliament to what the people were saying about it? It didn't. So we and I think one of the ways to also conceptualize and think about this is how the failures of the independent arms of the government has transformed and has exhibited under this conversation. So that is Parliament working like it's supposed to? If Parliament was working, would then the people still be needing to come to the street every day to advocate? Because the Parliament have the roles to legislate, the roles of oversight, the roles of passing laws. Are they passing laws that are speaking to what the people want? Yes. Or are they passing laws that only speak to themselves? So I think maybe Sumayyah can also chip in on this. But I think these are some of the designs that are faulty now. The constitutional achievements, or rather what the Constitution set out to achieve is not being done. And that's why we are having this disconnect between the people and the lawmakers, for instance, and the executive, for whom we are supposed to be represented by. Yes.
So Anna, I just want to come in briefly and just piggyback on the point that Eileen was talking about Parliament not doing its role. So, and more specifically on this issue of public participation. Up to now, we still have a public participation bill. So there's that, it's not a vacuum per se, but there's that opportunity for courts to constantly keep interpreting what it means for public or meaningful public participation to have been done. Then we have jurisprudence or cases from courts that keep coming out often. We had precedents which had been set over the years, even by the Supreme Court, that keeps sometimes, people say that it makes varying decisions sometimes, even on public participation. So I think that ability of people to be able to exercise the Article 1 that you're talking about, their sovereignty, and to be able to participate in policy and decision making generally, I think it would also be improved if this bill, the public participation bill, it also, I think, passed also in Parliament, so that we're able to hold the people accountable. But it's not also lost because we have a lot of also legislations that have been declared unconstitutional just simply on the basis of public participation, major legislations. So I think, to some extent, it's still being implemented, Article 1, but we could still do better. And given that it's 15 years in.
You guys are from Katiba Institute, and we cannot ignore the role that institutions like yourself do. So for somebody who maybe does not know what Katiba Institute is all about, kindly tell us what Katiba Institute is all about and the role of Katiba Institute in, even as we shape conversations around constitution and constitutionalism. What is the role of Katiba Institute in that kind of conversation? Anyone?
Okay, so Katiba essentially, is concerned, just as the name suggests, actually. Our primary role is on the Constitution. We are keen on educating the public on the Constitution. we are keen on doing research around, work around implementation of the constitution. Because, the thing about laws is sometimes it's subject to interpretation. So we want to also be able to do research around that. We, like Eileen and myself, we do public interest litigation or strategic litigation more specifically, where we legislate on key provisions in law, and we're able to set decisions, various decisions, some of which I think we've cited over this discussion. Yeah. We also engage with communities over time to be able to, do ATIs, that's access to information, education about that, how to be able to empower them, because also access to information is one of the most powerful tools that the Constitution has brought about. The ability to just go and ask and seek information, public and even private entities in relation to, exercising rights. So so you don't essentially those communities don't even have to rely on organizations. They themselves actually make requests, and we've seen this all around the country. So devolution is also a key issue that Katiba Institute is concerned with, or one of the key instruments or methods to which we do our work. So Eileen, you wanna come in? But this is mostly, I think, what we sort of deal with on a day-to-day basis.
That's what we do, and I think I wanted to just highlight that even as we talk about the work that amazing institutions selflessly are working around the clock to do, it's not enough to fill the gap in terms of especially constitutional education and socializing of the Constitution. And I think 15 years on, we must really call to account the National Assembly, rather Parliament, and the executive in part for not having a civic education framework rather in place. However it's supposed to be decided, or however it's supposed to be set up, we need to have more robust civic engagements from the people. If the finance bill has taught us anything, is that there's a thirst for this knowledge. When people would keep saying that constitutional law or constitutional matters ni vitu za watu wa huko juu, sisi hatuelewi. But right now, even more, we have a demographic that was even making their own content online, just interpreting some aspects of the Constitution. You've seen how the conversation around issues of rights to arrested persons has developed because of the interest that was genuinely there. And so you can imagine if the state actually invested more time in socializing this Constitution, who knows, maybe they might even learn something from this document, if at all the problem is that probably there's a gap in terms of understanding what the constitutional promise is. But I think it also presents an opportunity to build a community around these conversations around the Constitution that do not necessarily have to come from court. They can actually even come from the public, so that we have more people talking about the Constitution and what it portends for all of us, so that we enjoy the fruits of the Constitution. So I think 15 years on, I really think we need to have better civic education engagements, more sustained, more consistent, and in a manner that is not done ad hoc, where I see a member of parliament is doing legal aid clinic in their Constitution. You just definitely know, and I'm not being a Kenyan, you just know there's something that is happening in the background. You don't know what it is, but you just wonder what the investment is for this member of parliament. Yet it should not be a one-off experience that there's a legal aid qua constituency. There should be a system, and I think 15 years on, we need to call ourselves on that to account.
That's true. Do you have confidence in a place or in a state where we live, where our institutions are separated from this, there's a place where they clash? Like you did mention that, for example, we have a judiciary that is not independent of the executive, for example. Yet in countries where we have systems that work, these are independent institutions and bodies, and they should stand on their own. So what I guess I'm trying to ask is, do you think this Constitution of ours can get us to that sort of promised land? I like how you're looking at each other.
Smile. Okay. I think one of the things that I'm realizing right now is that even though we can quote and regurgitate the Constitution as much as we want, even though we can sit on trees and shout the rights of an arrested person. Take someone to court after you've arrested them. Don't do this. It almost sounds like sometimes when you're having these conversations, you're speaking utopian, like you're speaking about ideals that are not our collective ideals. And then for me, that's why it goes back to civic education. How do we make it such that when we're having these conversations, they don't seem isolated, they don't seem like troublemaker agreements and conversations. It's just you asking for something that you're entitled to. And it's also the understanding that everybody understands that they're subservient to this document. Just the same way what tunasema haya sisi tunasoma Biblia yetu inasema hivi ndo sisi, hii ndo katiba inatu control kama kanisa yetu. For instance, if you are from the Friends Church. So why is it that the Kenyan government, or rather the Kenyan people, have aspects of either our leaders who don't think they're subservient to this constitution? So for me, it boils back to the people. It's still supposed to be a people process, and the people need to we need to have more discipline around it, to be honest. So that everybody feels like I'm not doing this because it's just the constitution, but I'm doing this because it binds all of us. The other day when we were discussing with Sumayyah, we were talking about how politicians, and it's hilarious, but it's also infuriating. That they would be the first ones to talk back at the judiciary when they're just enforcing the constitution. Rather than, just pause, take a moment of reflection. Is somebody doing your job? Because isn't that what it is when the judiciary is coming to say this law is unconstitutional? Rather than go bashing them, shouldn't we have leaders who have more integrity, personal integrity, to come back and say, okay, where have we gone wrong? Because it assumes that some people feel like they are better or they're bigger than this constitution. So that we need to have more people who are invested in this process, so that it's a common process. So for me, and of course this goes back to the voter, and people will say, oh, you guys should vote for better leaders. and I don't know how this, in the grand scheme of things, are we blaming the victim or are we giving accountability? I don't know. I never know where I stand on that conversation. But people need more commitment.
Correct. Right. You want to jump in?
Yes, please. So I think basically, and just to echo what Eileen is saying, it comes down to the goodwill of the different persons and entities in the different arms of government. So for instance, and I want to get more particular actually with this, because if you look at the three arms of the government, the one that is always on the suffering end is the judiciary. Because people always say that the legislature has the ability to be able to make laws in relation to money. The executive obviously is the one that controls the arms, the police and what have you. So we are left with the judiciary, whose only voice is usually heard through decision making and their court orders. Now, when we find a situation whereby, for example, court orders are not being respected, so you find that power imbalance usually comes in at that level. So if we and it's exactly what Eileen is saying actually, it is us who put these leaders in those offices. If we're putting leaders in people in place who we know have zero respect for the constitution, it comes back to the voters. Now you have leaders who don't respect what the constitution provides, and it's a fundamental principle that a whole chapter 6 is dedicated to how a leader should be able to act. So it's the same leaders that go again violate these court orders, and now you have that power imbalance between the arms of the government. The same with the executive, not just the parliament. Executive as well has their fair share of.
That's right.
So I think it comes down to the goodwill as well of these leaders and the kind of people we put in the offices.
What are some of the things that you feel the Kenyan constitution also is abstract on? Is it issues of gender, for example? Do you feel it's gender responsive enough? Anyone can go.
I'm so glad actually you touched. I didn't even let Eileen come in. I'm so glad you touched on the issue of gender. And we've been singing this song. The more than 2/3, not more than 2/3 gender rule. There've been cases, and I say like more than. So we've had cases on the not more than 2/3 gender rule case on the composition of the cabinet. This is a case which has been determined in court. This is the Marilyn Kamuru case. This case is again in court on a similar principle. It's still pending judgment. We have another case, an advisory opinion from the Supreme Court. I think Justice Maraga was the Chief Justice at the time. This case actually led to another case whereby someone applied to the court for for the dissolution of parliament for simply not meeting the 2/3 gender principle. We have a case on IEBC not having met the 2/3 gender principle. I mean, I could go on and on and on the issue of the 2/3 gender principle.
Yeah.
It is a fundamental element of our constitution. It even goes to the human dignity of women.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, what message are you putting across? Are you
Yeah.
saying they're not supposed to deserve these offices? Just recently, I think this was about 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, KI just filed a case basically challenging the appointment of the chair of the Kenya National Human Rights Commission. The constitution is so express. It simply says if a chair is a man or a woman, the opposite gender is the vice chair. So we had a situation, unfortunately, where the chair had passed away and the vice chair is a man. It simply means that the incoming chairperson has to be a woman. Something as simple as that.
Yeah.
You are finding appointments or nominations rather going to parliament are of men. So what message are you putting across? So this song of 2/3 it has been sung for a while, and I think it's one of the things about the constitution provides that is still yet to stick. And I think it comes down to the question of goodwill. What is so difficult about implementing such a simple provision that has significant historical impact, so much so that it was deemed fit to be put in the constitution, and yet implementation is still an issue.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Eileen, you seem to be very deep in thought. You want to chime into that conversation?
And I don't know that it's useful.
Yes.
but I know the fast response we normally get.
Yeah.
You see, the not more than 2/3 gender rule, just let's state it clearly. It's not just about women, but as it manifests in our context, it's about women.
Yes,
so let's make it about women.
Yeah.
But then you hear people saying, but it's the people who don't want to vote in for women. But this is false because it negates the promise of what the Constitution wanted.
Right.
Did the Constitution anticipate that there should be protection of marginalized people and groups that have minority groups? It did. And so there are still systems within even political parties. And on this, I wanted to talk about the Political Parties Act and how the law has developed and the Constitution, so that you are told among the nominees that you present, make sure that a certain number are of this gender, so that even where that's the ability, I think the breadth of the Constitution, so that even where people are not voting in leaders, there are still systems that have been put in place that are supposed to ensure that we get to where we are supposed to get in. That's why the conversation on women not being in parliament because they have come there with their miniskirts or wherever it is that you want to say that is denigrating of women, it's nowhere. It's dead on arrival. They are there, and I don't think we are moving back. And if you want to audit what women have done, then let's do a common audit across the board now that we are making it a women versus men conversation. But also it's also on this conversation I wanted to speak about the how people, the political class, are taking advantage of even, for instance, nominations.
Yes, let's go there.
And this, because I think when we talk about the constitutional promise, sometimes we are seen as if we are talking from just textbook application. We know the problems. So that where the IBC is told you must ensure that you give these 5 people who are female, for instance, you go and pick your spouse, you go and pick somebody else and you bring there. And it puts us women at a pit, and it puts us at loggerheads. Because then you don't know, do you defend the woman who has been nominated, who is still a woman, whether they are allied or not, or do you not defend? But at the end of the day, did the Constitution intend that the face of leadership of Kenya would have women substantially represented?
Wow.
That's what matters, I think.
And that is such a good place to take our first break here. We are seated with litigation counsel Eileen Imbosa and Sumayyah Mokku. Is that the right way to say it? I was hoping I did not butcher it. Yes, and we are still unpacking. 15 years on, has Katiba really delivered on its promise to the Kenyan people? So please, let's me take one musical break. We will be right back as we continue with unpacking these conversations, the pains, the gains, and the future of Kenya, the Kenyan Constitution. See you in a bit.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Back with another ba bam ba bam bam. Back with another ba bam ba bam bam. Back with another one ba bam ba bam bam. Let's get it ba bam ba bam bam. Caribbean languages and chasing a Mary Jane, chasing a Mary Jane, you chasing a Mary Jane. Gotta be a Jane, cause I really like the way, I really like the way your music is insane. Gotta be a lane, you chasing a Mary Jane, chasing a Mary Jane, you chasing a Mary Jane. Gotta be a lane, cause I really like the way, I really like the way your music is insane. Joe, how do you think, Joe, what can you push about this girl I know, about this girl called Mary Jane, about the way she used to kill him with the show, kill him with the kill them pretty girl there. She got that shaku, got that katika, yeah. Every night and day, yeah. Up before 20 p.m. Everybody say, yeah. Gotta be a lane, you chasing a Mary Jane, chasing a Mary Jane, you chasing a Mary Jane. Gotta be a Jane, cause I really like the way, I really like the way your music is insane. Gotta be a lane, you chasing a Mary Jane, chasing a Mary Jane, you chasing a Mary Jane. Gotta be a Jane, cause I really like the way, I really like the way your music is insane. Gotta be a lane, you chasing a Mary Jane, she chasing a Mary Jane, she chasing a Mary Jane. Gotta be a Jane, cause I really like it, and I really, 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 really like it, yeah. Man, I really like it, then really like to move my body like that. Really like to dance, really like to move my body like that. Okay, najua unapendanga energy drink, lakini ukitaka mali safi ende chain. Kuna manziana everything you need. Gotta break your back, gotta break your back, gotta break your back until everything don't be leveling. Girl so sweet, they be jealousy. Everything about you is so highly. I know you know, they know you got nice energy. I keep song, every time so exciting. Now one lie, you mesmerizing. Nice energy, I keep song. That is why Mary Jane makes you feel some type of way. Gotta be a lane, you chasing a Mary Jane, chasing a Mary Jane, you chasing a Mary Jane. You chasing a Brandon, Jerry, you chasing a Kendra, you chasing a Abby, you chasing a Erica, you chasing a Lynn, you chasing a Tracy, you chasing a Dodo. Now Warembo,
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
It's your girl SDL. You know how we do. We make it sticky like glue. Michelle sing it. Oh, Heshima kwa you dada. Jamani ametoka far. You don't know what Elisha. Yeah, we're taking it back, just taking it back. From this big we on fire. SDL Michelle. Don't know what Elisha. Yeah, we're taking it back, just taking it back. Yo, I'm on my way back home. Already packed my bags, can't wait to get home. Clear everything else away. Don't wanna do nothing else but walk my way. I'm going back to Kenya, back to the fine weather, back to grandma. Ain't nothing else I'd rather sit on the porch and drink grandma's porridge. Talk to my elder, listen while I speak knowledge. Next morning be on my way to Nairobi. Do another song, big now they all know me. Yeah, magazines can write all kinds of bullshit, but let me tell you this, SDL will always do this. Lift your hands, swing them around like $1,000,000. Make sure everybody here know what's up. It's been a while now, finally I'm coming home with a perfect beat. Go ahead and shake it off. Heshima kwa you dada. Jamani ametoka far. Don't know what Elisha. Yeah, we're taking it back, just taking it back. From this big we on fire. SDL Michelle. Don't know what Elisha. Yeah, we're taking it back, just taking it back. Been a
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
That is STL, Stella Mwangi, our first cultural export from Kenya, with taking it back. And we are almost going to taking it back about the Constitution. We are still here having our conversation this morning. It is Katiba Day, 27th of August. If you did not know, it is Katiba Day. And by the way, people are hating online. They are saying, we do not need a Katiba Day. We need implementation of the Katiba. That's what we are here for. Yeah, you agree? You agree? Yeah, you want
the showmanship
chime in, please.
Do it.
Yes.
Like instead of coming to taking time for an executive order
Yes.
to say there will be a Katiba Day, it will not be a work from home day.
Yeah.
It will be
It's a working holiday.
And you see,
Yeah.
and you see, you can't blame the voter for reacting, or rather the Kenyan for reacting the way they do. What happened when they had the National Tree Planting Day? We saw helicopters flying all over the place, wasting our money going to plant a tree in Nakuru, and then you go and plant a. For your information, Kenyans plant trees.
Yeah.
What we
We
want
don't
is
need a
an
special
enabling environment for us to plant those trees without actually having to spend more at the taxpayers' tab. So that you have people, schools don't have enough money, but suddenly there's money to take the CS from Nakuru to Kisumu to go and plant a tree.
Yeah.
So when you come and talk about implementation of the Constitution and Katiba Day, yet we still have things that are being extra constitutional being done, being enacted. I'm stealing the show now because I want to talk about the victim fund,
Sure.
the victim protection fund that has been created.
Yeah.
And yay to the victims. And I guess this ties our hands, and it's part of the PR machinations that the executive uses, so that you've tied our hands now. Now we can't say that victim protection fund is unconstitutional in goodwill, because the victims will come after us, and we want them to get this compensation for whatever reason. But it's the premise that is wrong. One, you don't even issue an apology. You don't give an acknowledgement of what has happened, and then you come and say, for political expediency, we are creating this has been okayed by the various factions of whoever it is that approved this, and then you set it up. What does that do when we already have a Victim Protection Act that has mechanisms that have been created? That is what the Constitution intended. And so you must also see, so that when you tell us about the Victim Katiba Day, yet in spirit there's nothing being done in implementation of the Constitution, it's hard to be impressed.
Right. Are you impressed by a Katiba Day?
And you know what I want to see on Katiba Day?
Yes.
So essentially, we've been given a day that, first of all, it's not a public holiday, which is fine.
Yeah.
But what I would want to see is for every constitutional entity, for example, to look within and do like a constitutional audit.
Yes.
And tell us 15 years in.
Yeah.
What have you done as that entity?
Correct.
You have received powers from the Constitution. You are enjoying something from the Constitution. But what have you as that entity or public officer, what have you done to be able to comply with the Constitution?
Yeah.
How many cases have been filed against you and what have you done as regards to those cases? That's something we should be able to clearly and outrightly speak about. But those are not things we are seeing. I mean, having a Katiba Day is a good step in the right direction, but we want to be able to see the same way we have the celebrations and the other public holidays, and we're able to hear the government has done this, or we shall construct these roads, we shall do this. We also want to hear we have also complied with the Constitution with regards to this is what we have done in terms
Like
of
a
Bill of Rights.
scorecard.
Precisely.
And we
That's
will
what
talk
I want
also
to see.
about the devolution conference a
Yeah.
little bit later, because I mean that is a whole other conversation. But let's talk about the Constitution and its predecessors, right? Before 2010 came, we had a constitution. So, Eileen, what are some of the radical shifts that we saw with the new constitution that the old constitution had not catered for?
I'll start with the one that you were told to not forget to talk about.
Yeah.
Is the transition of power. And because as Kenyans we have a tendency of saying, because we've achieved that, president ukitoka unaenda maliza uende. Maliza uende is such a powerful statement for Kenyans, and especially when you look at how other countries, and especially African countries, have grappled with the issue of transition of power. And we are lucky as Kenya because we have a constitution And we have this an accepted issue that once you finish your 10-year term, you go home. In fact, right now we are talking about 1 term, 2 terms, but it's also a creation of the constitution that was not there before the constitution came in. So the issues of swearing in of presidents in the evening to defeat whatever it is that was being done is no longer happening. And I think that's such a radical shift that we must appreciate as Kenyans, that we don't struggle with will they transition out of power once they have lost. And so we have had successful transitions from power, and that's a Katiba achievement.
Right.
The issue of election dispute resolutions, even just the framework of how we are resolving disputes, even the idea that we have the idea that we have a presidential petition, it's resolved and nothing earth-shattering happens, because we know that this is what we signed up for, and this is what takes care of us. Sumayyah, anything to add?
Yeah, I think for me it comes down also to the Chapter 4 on Bill of Rights. We have ADR, which has been introduced in our constitution, and I think it is just
ADR meaning
or alternative dispute resolutions.
Okay.
So we have various forms of alternative dispute resolutions, especially with traditional dispute resolutions. So this one echoes the role of appreciation for our communities. Their role, basically what they used to do before the constitution, it basically absorbs them into a system. So I think for me, that is one of the changes that I really appreciated from the new constitution that was not previously there.
Yeah.
I like the fact that our new constitution is also more robust. The Chapter 4 basically on the Bill of Rights is more robust. Yes, we used to have Bill of Rights. We used to have rights previously in our 1969 constitution. But in this new one, I think even when you look at the burden of proof when you go to court, who is supposed to be able to basically determine when they're talking about violation of rights, it's on the person who wants to violate. So basically it shifts to that person. So that's also something great. And then the remedies that you get when you are basically talking about violation of rights, they are almost infinite. The court is not limited in terms of what they can give you when you go to court, which basically is also again a testament to how great our constitution is. I mean, the use of also technology is something that our constitution also has embraced essentially. There's so many entities that have absorbed technology, including the courts, which have used e-filing system. E-Citizen, despite all its challenges.
Oh my goodness. That is a rabbit hole.
I've touched it now.
Umeguza murima.
Okay. Basically, I think in essence, technology is also one of the things I think that our constitution has also sort of taken in.
Yeah.
I mean, the one we cannot fail to take into account is public participation. It is like the hallmark of our constitution. It's the one that has basically, it's why Kenya is what it is, basically. It's why someone right now would tell you haki yangu. Haki yetu,
I know my rights.
Because basically the constitution belongs to us. It's actually the predecessor of the constitution. It's the one that decided what the constitution is, that people participation. I think for me, those are some of the main hallmarks that were not previously there, that have been absorbed in this constitution, that I really like.
Right. And do we still call the Kenyan constitution the new constitution? For the longest time, everybody keeps saying it's the new constitution. We are 15 years in. We are really 15 years in.
Isn't that evidence of how the failure?
Yeah.
Well, there are two ways to look at it.
Right.
Someone might say it's still new because if there are things that in 2024, 2025, I'm still feeling like this is a fresh thing, then it's new for me. And it's evidence on how we need to invest more in socialization of the constitution. For it to work for all of us, we need to be on a level playing understanding. You see, the way we were saying, like, sasa ukiongea juu ya article 49 na article 50 tunakukataza tu kwa sababu hapo peleka mtu kotini, urudi utuambie unahitaji more days ama nini. Hakuna cha polisi kupiga mtu. There are things that we have really internalized. Freedom of speech, for instance. Usiniambie nisikuambie just because ati wewe ni mtu kwa wapi. But it's also it's old for the people who've been interacting with it. So that's, then it just means perspective on where you are sitting.
Got it. How effective is this constitution in redefining the relationship between it and the citizen, the state and the citizenry? Because I think it's very important. Yeah.
I think for me, I wanted to discuss two things, two aspects. Where that, of course, when we have to start with the issue of the sovereignty of the people. This thing that we keep coming back to, the people shall. I remember one of my first lessons when I started doing constitutional law is hearing from people, especially Professor Yashpal Gai. There was this conversation of this was a people constitution, so that this was something that the political class or elite did not necessarily want. It was not going to speak for them. So there's that feeling of this was a people constitution, and you see how when it starts, the preamble, the Article 1, the sovereignty of the people, the power that is being exercised in delegation given by the people. So for me, that is the shift. It's that this encapsulation of the concept that we are actually the people who are controlling this thing. And that's why we can bandy around things like sometimes it sounds like it's empty promises, but we keep telling members of parliament, we shall not vote for you again. It's that internalized appreciation that I have the power to get you out. And I think that's one of that's how it has described the relationship. The other thing is that it has shifted the burden in terms of how the relationship works. And I wanted to talk about it in the level of the vertical application of the power, which is between the state and the citizen. Which, for instance, like the National Police Service, the people wanted that it shouldn't be a force anymore, it should be a service. What are the constitutional obligations of the National Police Service when they're acting? Should they act in public interest? Yes. So those are some of the things that have really defined that shift, so that there's power that is going back to where it's supposed to be. But also even in our relationship amongst ourselves. And I wanted to talk about, for instance, how access to courts has really been a facilitator in a means in terms of, and an exhibition, a proper exhibition of how this the constitution has prescribed these relationships. You see, even the Employment and Labor Relations Court is probably the most busy court, because even with your employer is not the state, but there's this internalized thinking of, you can't do this to me. I will sue you. Like people say Kenyans are litigious, but I think it's also one of the aspects that, based on that redefinition of the relationship, then there's more control, there's no power there's more seizing of the power that the people now realize they have.
Right. I want to talk to you, Sumayyah, about the reinventing the wheel that we like to do in this country. The Kenyan Constitution, as glorious as it is, as progressive as it is, as glossed over as it is, has not had its own fair share of, BBI here, another iteration, the NADCO report, for example, which PLO Lumumba called absolute nonsense. And so, that's what he said. So this sort of thing, we always have handshakes and commissions of inquiries and commission on corruption, for example, yet it is already catered to in the Kenyan Constitution. So, I mean, how we need to move away from these iterations. We do not need them, perhaps. Talk to us a little bit about that.
And it's so crazy because it's like the message is not being received.
Yes.
Because, for instance, let me just pick the most recent events.
Yes.
We have a panel which has just been set up for the purposes of, like Eileen said, the issue of the victim compensation.
Yes.
We have an entity which is being set up for anti-corruption, an anti-corruption task force. We have a whole chapter 6 and a whole entity, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, which has been set up for the purposes of dealing with that specific issue.
Yeah.
And every so often, you will find a task force being set up, a committee being set up. Like, these are things that actually undermine the Constitution. And it comes back to that issue of, why is it so difficult to implement? It's difficult to implement because we fail to resource the entities which are meant to do these implementations.
Yeah.
And then we come and use funds, the same resources that would otherwise have been useful for that, to set up these entities and to pay these temporary task forces.
Yeah.
So this is becoming a challenge. And I think you would find many cases where these entities would be taken to court, these task forces. They'll be declared unconstitutional. You'd think the message has been received. We repeat the cycle again. Like it's, I don't know, Eileen, it's like the message is not being received, but it's coming up every so often. And we are still seeing it even this week with this particular issue of the victim compensation.
Yeah,
I mean, it sounds like a noble cause. It's very popularist. Yes, we want to solve the issue of the victims of the protest. which is very essential. But we have a formula to it. Our constitution already set up specific bodies to deal with that. The Kenya National Human Rights Commission has a role in this, but it's being overlooked, and we are setting up temporary bodies.
Right.
So basically, I think it's just a matter of compliance with the constitution, ensuring we resource and we fund the entities which the constitution has empowered to do its work, and so we would be implementing our constitution as it has been envisaged.
Yeah. Eileen, do you want to jump in on that? As you also talk to us a little bit about political expediency and populism. Yeah.
I will just come out and say that this is not about the political class. And unfortunately, all the solutions they give are around themselves and their comfort. Since 2017, enough is enough. Whatever the motivations are, sometimes political expediency in the interest of the nation moving forward. Is the nation just a bunch of people who we keep circulating amongst yourselves? Surely there are bigger interests that take care of us than just your interest. So the conflation of national interests with the political elite interest, it must stop. And we must, as a citizen, we must claim that spot of knowing. For me, I wanted to discuss this, and I'm hoping that this is received properly, so that especially when we allow for things to be created, mongrels, the president called them mongrels, called the handshake mongrels previously. And then now, lo and behold, he has come. And one, you are exercising power that is not for you to exercise. That is too much power for you. The constitution did not intend for the president to have that. If the people of Kenya wanted that, they would have wanted that. And so it's putting even activists and civil society groups and people who want to advocate for the constitution in a process of being combative every time, because you just couldn't be bothered to do the right thing and implement the constitution. And it's instructive. When the president keeps doing these things, it's telling other people, because it applies downwards, it's telling other people it's okay to create another system that will help you. Because what does political expediency, like with the latest handshake, what does it do for the normal mwananchi? We still are in the same space we were. We are still where we were at the finance bill. We know that the things that were there last year passed this year. We're still where we were in terms of healthcare. We're still where we are in terms of education. There's no accountability to the people who are coming in from the outside and just enjoying the services. What does it mean for my vote if I didn't vote for someone and they are now in power and I'm told they have so much influence? So I think we sabotage ourselves in how we create these systems, yet they're already systems that have been created. Look at, and I resent the way PR is used to actually counter the movement.
Let's talk about that.
And I don't know how to do this. I, as a young person, I was disappointed with our excitement with Harambee Stars being promised money and being given houses. We already have not resolved the issue of where are you collecting our money and which houses are you building and how do I benefit from this house. All we've had is arrogance and answers. The other week, they were creating market stalls with that money. Now they're giving a house to Harambee Stars. Yay to Harambee Stars. Get your bag. But we know it's also a youth unemployment problem. If the sports ministry was working, Harambee Stars would not be needed to be paid incentive for them to perform. So you go even during national games, you do your usual corruption, shenanigans, nepotism, you're not investing in sports, and then come and take money that you have not told us where it came from. We know how much we pay the president. So where is he getting the money?
We know,
right? So where is he getting the money to be that generous? Is it that the rest of us are not working as hard as we are supposed to? But then I was disappointed. To invest. Tafadhalini.
He's the cuckoo.
But you see, it's the excitement. For me, I was a bit disappointed by the excitement that people, it's almost like we lost. We are being manipulated politically every time and we don't see it. And I think we need to be smarter around these issues. Like, let's learn to separate the issues, especially where politicians are using these shenanigans to split our conversation. We need accountability. We need to deal with the issue of corruption. The way to deal with it is how the constitution intended. The design that was supposed to solve those problems.
You want to chime in?
Yes. I think I just want to pick on Eileen's issue with the question of money, and I want to tie it back to that issue of these handshakes and broad-based governments. And I remember just not so long ago the issue of the chairmanship of the African Union. We still don't know where that money came from to be able to sponsor the candidate and all the other people that followed him. Like what portion of the Kenyan budget basically was spent for that? that.
Yeah.
It has not been accounted for. We
Yeah.
still don't have responses.
Yeah.
So I mean, every so often we have these issues.
Accountability
and I think,
issues,
yes,
yeah.
and this is the money that we are talking about that's giving us problems with the implementation of the other human rights initiative. So I think we cannot ignore that as well.
I think it's constitutionalized or legalized impunity.
Yes.
Because it's wrong.
It's not constitutionalized.
It's
because
legalized.
It's not in the
It's not even in the constitution.
It's not in the constitution.
I'll look for a better term for that. But moving away. So I think 2 weeks ago, we saw the 12th edition of the Devolution Conference going down at Homa Bay. It's you guys are... The stress that you have of each other, oh my goodness, it's everything.
Every issue is a motivator.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay, then let's talk about it. A very pompous 1 week of people coming and talking to us about the devolution this and devolution the other. I didn't even see any scorecard of how well we are doing in terms of devolution, So let's just jump into, first of all, do you think devolution is working? Yes, it is catered for in the Constitution of Kenya, but so far, 15 years in, where do we stand with devolution and how do we make sure that it works for us? We can start with Sumayyah.
I mean, if I was to put it simply, I'd say yes, devolution is working. And I'm not saying it doesn't come with its own challenges.
Yes.
It does.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and I think we started this conversation talking about who was devolution meant for and what's the status of whoever devolution was meant for at this point.
Yeah.
Right now, if I go to my village, people understand governance issues, which is something that never used to happen.
Yeah, what's your village?
Oh, my village is somewhere in Isiolo.
Awesome. Okay.
So governance was so far off.
Yes.
Like, it was just a decision that used to be made in Nairobi. Like, so far off from where we are.
Yeah.
So they used to be
Uko
there.
Kenya.
Yeah, Kenya ile ingine.
Eh.
So it was so far from us. So now we have people even in the village who are able to say there's a kuna discussion inaendelea Isiolo at the central, and it's a bill. Basically, that's what they're trying to tell you. Right now, they'll tell you the speaker was removed, and there's another speaker which is basically they're able to keep tabs with what's happening and what that's happening. Basically, that tells you that what we intended for devolution to do, it's doing it. I mean, we still have a long way to go, especially when it comes to accountability. But that's not a problem that was not there even previously. It was still there.
Yeah.
It just means that we need to be able to, tie the knots around the issues of securing issues of implementation. The Senate needs to pull up its socks in terms of, being able to do proper oversight. I'm sure they also have their own challenges, and which rightfully so. But yeah, just to put it straight, I think devolution has done its deed. It's the thing it's one of the major things the Constitution introduced, and it's working. We've seen it. I mean,
yeah. Eileen, do you think it's working?
You guys are making me say the negative things.
No, please.
No,
freedom of expression.
Devolution definitely working. Mimi kuna vitu Kakamega hazikuwa zinatufikia.
Kama nini?
Like right now we have street lights.
Into
the city. You're seeing street lights. But of course we
ni street lights ama mko kwa mataa. Unajua kuna difference.
Hapana, ninajua ni mataa actually.
You see where I'm going? Kuko na street light na kuna mkuachwa kwa mataa. Mumeachwa kwa mataa.
Tuko na zile street lighting to be specific.
All right.
And even just going around just the villages, seeing how much even development, you're seeing resources from people who have either been employed directly or indirectly in the counties. Of course, could we have more stability? Absolutely. So that when one governor is coming in and the other is and they are leaving, transition is part of life. But can you not affect the people who have been employed within that? You see, these are some of the things that we say, then people say the Constitution is not working. Because how do you expect people to appreciate devolution when it means that I can get a job and then after 5 years I'm out because that governor went? Of course, this goes hand in hand with the problems with nepotism and corruption. How are we hiring even on that level? Are people just being hired because you are cousins with the governor? It's fine, your cousin could have a degree, but can we have a degree of balance also as well? Like, we all voted for you in the county. It's not just about you.
Right.
So I think that essentially is working on that end. So if we're able to cure the wastage, it's a tragedy the amount of money that we hear is being wasted under devolution. it's wanasemanga ugatuzi imekuwa devolved corruption.
Yeah.
And I know maybe it's just the same culprits, because I suppose you have people who probably have been working in the national government, and then when they see opportunity at the county government, they go and run, and because they have money, then they win, and then they just transfer their national government practices. But that was not the dream.
Yeah.
The dream is to have a working devolution and to minimize this wastage. And I think I always think that there's a level of accountability that was supposed to be there when my village mate is the one who is in the county, so that I'm supposed to look at them in the morning. I'm like, okay, you guys are doing well.
We know where you live.
Hakuna dawa kwa hospitali. But I don't know that there's enough how do we call about it? Enough consequences to the wastage that we're seeing under devolution. There isn't.
You chime in.
See, this is the thing. I'd be remiss if I don't talk about the monster when it comes to devolution. The NGCDF, the CDF.
We have to talk about that.
We are talking about counties losing or not losing resources.
Yes.
But let's talk about counties not having insufficient resources and where those resources are going right now. This has been a battle, I think, since we started, over the last 15 years. We're looking at a situation whereby from the first CDF to now the NGCDF Act, and now even trying to amend the constitution. Yani wanaguza katiba, basically. Basically, to try and introduce this CDF into the constitution. So the resources or the funds, basically, that are now what they're calling NGCDF is actually money that is meant for counties. Because Parliament has no business, involving themselves in issues of implementation of activities at such grassroots level. This is the work of counties, and counties need this money. And that's why you're saying, yes, they are doing some work, but we want them to be able to prosper further. And in that, maybe even the resources is what basically they're lacking to be able to take it a step further. And I think the CDF thing, the NGCDF thing, is where I think much of their funds actually are lost. And I think it's something that we need to be keen on as well.
Wow. So as we come to the close of our conversation, oh my goodness, time really flies. So what are some of the biggest threats to the implementation of the Constitution as it stands? We can start with Sumayyah.
I mean, the greatest thing that has had us on a chokehold, I think, is corruption. That would be the first thing that comes to my mind. And it's corruption everywhere. It's corruption at the counties. It's corruption between... We are having that discussion right now. The president and the National Assembly are, technically pointing fingers at each other. One saying, oh, you took a bribe for some impeachment, or you took a bribe for something that was some discussion. You took a bribe for the purposes of, passing some legislation, things like that. So I think corruption is a monster that we've got to sort of slaughter. And we will not do it if entities like the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission don't have funds. And those funds are the ones we are now giving to some temporary task forces and committees to do work which is essentially meant for them. So I think for me, if I was to pick one thing that is a challenge to the implementation of the Constitution, it's got to be corruption. It has to be.
Eileen?
Lack of public awareness, the investment into civic education that I'm speaking about. Because I fear that if we continue as we are, then we continue having this conversation about the Constitution and constitutionalism as if it's just a conversation for a select few, at least, or rather for just the political class. And you can see how the conversations that concern the political class have taken precedence in the greater scheme of things. So that, and you see, that's the direct feedback. That's why the people are telling us that this is an elite conversation. Tell me why we are always talking about the political class and their problems. Even now, right now, as they exchange and say, he took 100,000, he gave 500,000, money that to the ordinary Kenyan would actually make a difference to their lives. And they talk about it like it's pocket change. We must find a way of moving the public along with us. Even if, and I think we also underestimate the political savviness of the voter with appropriate information given to them with enough time to digest, given in a way that takes care of the different quotas to ensure that the information gets to the people it's supposed to and in the way it's supposed to. So that when we talk about why we need to have a county policing authority, for instance, under the counties as a civilian oversight to prescribe for national security functions, it's not something that I am just talking about as Eileen and in my own office and my own book. It's something that people actually understand. Hapana, kama tuko kwa na shida kwa hii county kamati ya security, kuna hii kamati huwa inakaa huwa inatusuluhishia hizi problems. So that there's just the little things that we need to do to ensure that we are moving together as a country. Of course, it aids the political class to not have the people understand the constitution as well. We've seen even the issues of TV shut down, and somebody just blatantly say it's because we didn't want them to spread information on where the protesters were going. They were directing. What the hell? What are you saying?
Yeah, it's undermining.
You've seen the pronouncements by the cabinet secretary under the Murkomen on the shoot to kill order. And it saddens me when I hear sometimes a Kenyan will just be saying, lakini ako na nguvu. Sasa yeye ndiye ako kwa ofisi, hiyo ndo kazi yake, yeye ndiye anajua vile atafanya. The leader knows best. And you wonder, is it me being impatient and impetuous and irritable, or is it that we have not invested enough in our people for them to also just support us? Because as civil society groups, we can't speak alone. You've seen, and the government is playing dirty. Eventually, like things will not go well unless we rectify this situation of these are collective conversations.
That's right. So, parting shot, where do we go from here? I will start with you, Eileen.
We keep at it. We keep at it. I'm excited for, and that's why I think I keep talking about constitutional education, and I'm excited for what we could do with proper civic education, especially for the younger demographic. I know that right now we are just like register and vote. And I think it should be a reality for all of us, because we have in a unique position where we have the education, we have the grasp of understanding the issues. Let's build our political savviness so that we are not susceptible to the political class manipulations and the PR exercises that are ongoing.
I love that. So today we are marking 15 years of the Kenyan Constitution. As you give us your parting shot, what would you hope that the next 15 years of the Constitution would hold for Kenya?
15 years is a long time. I thought you'd ask 5.
Let's just.
But 15 years, I hope we would not be talking about the new constitution, first of all. I hope we would not be having provisions in the constitution which are yet to be implemented, because that would be a big miss, because we still have some of them now. So 15 years from now, I hope the issue on the CDF would have been resolved. I hope our counties are more empowered to be able to do the work they are supposed to do. I hope corruption is a thing of
the past.
Is that too idealistic?
Well.
I hope the entities like the anti-corruption entities are also able to have enough resources to be able to tackle the issues that we are facing now. I hope we have more ethical leaders. Is that too much to ask?
It's not too much to ask.
Women of integrity.
Like Chapter 6 requires.
Right.
I hope we are not talking about 2/3 gender rule in 15 years from now. Like, those are things that we are supposed to have already realized.
And
I hope we don't even have to need special positions for us to be able to appoint the people who have been listed as special groups in the constitution, like the marginalized groups, like persons with disabilities, like women. I hope we don't, like youth, I hope we don't need to be able to create positions for them special for that. I hope people are able to actually, put those people in those positions, because that's what the constitution sort of like paints a picture for us that we're supposed to. That's the standard that a society should be living at. That's what I hope to see in 15 years.
In 15 years, Eileen, what do you hope to see in the next 15 years?
I certainly hope that we'll, there are places where they just talk about the constitution like broadly as an issue. It's not on the day-to-day small issues. Let the systems work as they're supposed to. The ability as a leader to understand that I am here, I will live, and somebody else will come. The commitment to building institutions without the selfishness we are seeing, the self-centered, it's self-seeking actually. Using very many words. We are seeing people who've been put in positions of leadership, but only just thinking about themselves and how these things affect them. We want to see people. We want public institutions that work.
Right.
So for me, I think that is how this constitution translates to being useful to the ordinary mwananchi. Otherwise, we can continue spinning and saying whatever we want to say. But if the normal mwananchi is not feeling the gains of this constitution, then we could shout ourselves hoarse.
Yeah.
So let's build some institutional resilience.
Yes.
That's what our role is at this point.
Right. Yeah. Lastly, we never know who is watching. Where can people find you personally or also Katiba Institute? Let us know in case people might want to consult you for legal counsel,
Definitely at Katiba Institute offices. Yes.
Katiba Institute offices are where?
Westlands of Parklands Road, number 5, Crescent Lane.
Okay.
Yes.
You can also find us on Twitter.
On Twitter.
On Facebook.
Yeah.
You can call us. You can email us.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a website. You can reach us on the website.
Okay.
You can find us in many other ways.
Yeah.
We are public figures.
You are public figures. You are. Oh, that's for sure. You are.
No, I'm not.
It's heading there. But Litigation Counsel, Sumayyah and Eileen, it's been absolutely the joy of my life hosting you guys. Thank you so much for the privilege of your time and for the impeccable work that you're doing with the Constitution. And let's do this again, please. Please.
And thank you for having us.
Yeah. Asanteni sana. That has been our time with Litigation Counsel Eileen Imbosa alongside Litigation Counsel Sumayyah Mokku from the Katiba Institute. And from clear deliberations of our discussions this morning, it is clear that yes, Katiba at 15, some gains have been made, but the future is quite uncharted and we need to create frameworks that function for us, and we need to move away from promise to progress. And so hopefully this is a conversation that we can continue and sustain beyond today, Katiba Day, and beyond also this year, beyond this conversation here. So thank you so much to everybody who was able to tune in to the Power Morning Drive Show. I have been your host, Wanyoike. Join me on Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. We shall be having another, yet again, scintillating conversations of young people taking ownership of democracy and governance. And I will be joined by Emmanuel from the AYLF. He's doing some incredible work there alongside an activist and poet. I forget his name, but we are going to be hosting them as we talk about young people that are shaping democracy, that are shaping governance spaces, as well as how do we ensure that we are opening up these spaces for young people to participate in this kind of conversation. So do join me then. But until then, I leave you in the very safe and capable hands of Miss Caroline Murote. She comes in with Shiva sessions from 11 a.m. all the way till 1 p.m. And then later on, our dynamic duo of our hip-hop boys in the hood come in with Gift of Gab from 4 p.m. all the way till 6 p.m. To get all things you need to know about what is happening in the hip-hop scene of all artists bubbling under and everything in between. Until then, it's a goodbye from me. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you on Friday. Take care, but still keep it tuned to Power Radio. Bye for now.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Wonfala mgani ane kama mngari kwa list juu ya Ferrari, ana degree au ni journalist tu journalist. Nasikia wakiuliza ule boy wetu alienda wapi, amepotea kazi ile mbegu watu walipanda na kanyari, na nasikia inasemekana hati rap zangu kamna mkazo na ile utamia rege mama maudinari wananikubali na hatu hati hawezekana kwa wale upenda sauti yangu na iko wale usengenyana mama kijana wako amepotea ni masikio tuye anatoboa ndugu zake wakiendelea Mwenyezi pekee anaweza muokoa kimaisha melege ingawa poni akitoboa bado twazidi kumwombea amina. Sunangi hata ya ofisi sina njana jua mpishi. Sijaifanya kazi ya ofisi, sijailala kasi jadishi. Sijarap kitu kutoka 6 hivi. Trust me, siezi rush me. Hata niache mziki miaka 50, nikirudi bado na crash nyinyi niko fast me. Ndani ya party na nguo rasmi, tumepigwa pasi hapo katikati. Napiga mic check tu niko party na niko night shift. Niko busy sikuwa najificha. Clearly you rappers missed your teacher. Vitu mnaandika zinachoma picha, nikiwisingi hata kuwafundisha sauti nasikiani.
Don't waste your time wishing you're too proud, my baby. Too proud to wish they had an easy way out. Let times get tough so they remember you're a blessing. When life is good, they won't forget to say, ooh, 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 ooh.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Naulizwa mbona niliacha mziki, ati nilikuwa mkali juu ya mic na namisiwa na mashabiki. Niliacha game mapema hata kabla refa atapiga firimbi. Bila kwa heri atu walistukia tu kuna klezo moja imbi. Samahani, nimepotea, shukrani kwa wale wamenifikiria. Hizo miaka zote nimekuwa missing, lakini kwa kitu hamjaniambia. Kani ningebaki bado ngekuwa na taki ya kusikia nikiwaimbia. Ama baisa ingekuwa mnanifanya vile mnafanya mapioneer. Story kwa media ati nimetapa, niko juu ya madawa na hangaika. Shoni mali mbada buka mukatendreizie mnaita. It's not that serious, rap ni hobby. Bila mziki bado na mange, ingekuwa karia singekuwa nalia kusikia tinaija. Nairobi ambia ni ukama, sijifeel sana. We ni mgeni, sikia kwanza, tunakupenda. Ukikakata choka na wewe, hivyo ndo kuenda. Mimi ule mgeni alikaa siku 2 tu. Sikukaa siku mingi nipatie nafasi ya kuchoka na mimi.
So now you know.
Shiski.
So now you know.
Beat ya kega.
So now you know. Hey. Hey. Ooh.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Pawa Radio.